I need to warn you up front. What unfolded that evening changed my life in ways I never could have imagined. I never thought I'd find myself sitting across from my own wife at a family dinner, only to have her words shatter everything I believed about our marriage. The night began peacefully. My family had gathered for a quiet Sunday dinner. My parents, my brother, and my wife. The room was filled with light chatter and laughter, a sense of warmth that made me relax for the first time all week. For a brief moment, it felt ordinary, comfortable, even happy. Then, in one instant, everything fell apart. We were midway through the main course when she laughed, too loudly, and said something that made my stomach sink. She joked about having an affair with my brother. I froze. At first, I convinced myself I must have misheard. I forced a weak, nervous laugh, clinging to the hope it was just a careless joke. But her eyes, sharp, mischievous, unrepentant, told me otherwise. And then she didn't stop. She continued, making comments dripping with innuendo, smirking a way that made my chest tighten and my stomach churn. Around the table, the reactions ranged from awkward laughter to confusion, but inside, a storm of disbelief and betrayal raged through me. I tried to push it aside, to act as though nothing had happened. But my mind was spinning. How could she say something so cruel, so deeply humiliating in front of my family? My parents looked stunned. My brother looked uncomfortable. And I felt a sharp, raw betrayal, so intense it almost hurt. This wasn't humor. This was a blatant violation of trust. After dinner, I asked her to speak privately. The moment the door closed behind us, I demanded the truth. Why would you say that? Why humiliate me like this in front of my family? I asked, my voice tight and trembling with anger. She shrugged, as if I were overreacting, as if it were all a game. In that instant, I understood the truth. The foundation of our marriage was gone. This wasn't about a joke. It was about disrespect, a lack of regard for our vows, and a betrayal I could never accept. I sat there, my heart hammering, watching years of shared life flash through my mind. I had loved her, built a life with her, dreamed of a future together. And yet, in a single moment, it all felt fragile, like it could crumble into nothing. I realized I could not give her the chance to explain further. With calm but absolute certainty, I told her our marriage was over. I asked her to pack her things and leave. That night, I ended a marriage I once believed would last forever. The following days were some of the hardest I've ever known. Heartache, confusion, and anger collided inside me, leaving me sleepless. Friends offered comfort, but even they struggled to understand how a single comment could destroy an entire life we had built together. But it wasn't the words alone, it was what they revealed. A lack of respect, a disregard for honesty, a betrayal I could not ignore. I began to confront the truth about what I wanted in a relationship and what I deserved. I realized I deserved someone who respected me, who honored our bond, someone who would never even consider joking about infidelity, especially with my own brother. That clarity didn't make the pain disappear, but it gave me direction. The first week after asking her to leave was surreal. Watching her move through our home, gathering her belongings as if nothing had changed, was like observing a ghost. Every shared memory, every object we had touched, now carried a sting of betrayal. I replayed the dinner in my mind repeatedly, analyzing every word, every glance, every laugh. And then it hit me. She had tested me, whether intentionally or unconsciously, but I had passed the only test that mattered. I defended my dignity, my self-respect, and my future. Slowly, I rebuilt my life. I poured myself into work, rekindled old passions, and surrounded myself with friends who truly cared. The anger remained, but over time it transformed into clarity and eventually peace. I learned an essential truth. Love alone is not enough. A healthy relationship requires loyalty, trust, and respect. When those pillars are broken, even under the guise of a joke, the entire structure collapses. Now, when I think back to that dinner, I feel a mix of anger and relief. Anger at her actions, but relief that I acted decisively and didn't allow denial to drag out my suffering. Ending a marriage is never simple, especially with shared memories and obligations. But sometimes the quickest path to self-respect is through action. This story isn't merely about my wife, my brother, or that night. It's about the choices we make when faced with betrayal. It's about standing up for ourselves when someone crosses a line. And it's about realizing that love cannot sustain a marriage when trust and respect are absent. When I walked away, I didn't just leave a marriage. I reclaimed my life, my dignity, and my sense of self. The lesson is clear. Never tolerate public humiliation. Never excuse betrayal, and never compromise your self-worth for someone who doesn't value it. Life is too short for anything less. That night ended a chapter, but it also began a new one founded on honesty, integrity, and the unwavering understanding that I deserve nothing less than respect.